This conference will now be recorded.
You're all set, Mayor.
Thank you. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state on May the 7th, 2021, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, the Upper Township website, and the Town Hall foyer, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel-Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being audio recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting, and I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. You'll see Barbara is holding up in center screen. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and
justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Barr?
Mr. Barr is attending a charitable fund for, I believe, Police Benevolent Association tonight.
Okay. Mr. Coggins?
Present.
Person?
Present.
Hayes?
Present.
Mayor Palumbo?
Here.
Present.
I'm not sure what all that ruffling means. Or rustling, I guess. Okay. So would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from April the 26th, 2021, both regular and closed session minutes?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Okay,
Nope.
hearing none. Yes, is there correction? Okay, hearing none, would you call the roll?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. All in favor?
All right, so we can go around and get the reports. Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mayor. A couple things. Good evening, committee members. First, we'll start out with Cape May County Department of Health. For vaccine information on where, when, who, and how, please visit capemaycountynj.gov and also our Upper Township website at uppertownship.com for the latest information regarding COVID-19 and the vaccination process. New Jersey Health Department reports that 50,505 Cape May County residents have received at least one vaccine dose, and 42,733 have been fully vaccinated. Cape May County has consistently led the state in per capita administration of the COVID vaccine. Today will mark Cape May County's final daily COVID press release. That, of course, is the press release I am reading. However, the daily numbers will continue to be updated at the Cape May County Department of Health's dashboard, visiting the same website that I referred to earlier. And there will be weekly reports released every Friday to recap the updates with COVID-19 in the county over the past 7 days. So therefore, we will continue to receive a report during our committee meetings. Cape May County is currently at 56% of its adult population fully vaccinated. The county is ahead of the statewide average that went over 50% fully vaccinated for adults on Sunday. Cape May County also reported its best week of new COVID cases this year. The county Department of Health reported 99 new cases from May 3rd to May 9th, and that's the first time the county was below 100 new cases in a 7-day period this year. This was down 7% from the week before. The Cape May County Department of Health will have availability of walk-ins on Wednesday, May 12th, for those looking for a COVID vaccine. The location of the vaccination clinic is Avalon Community Center, which is located at 3001 Avalon Avenue. The walk-in times are from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And anyone who comes to the Avalon Community Center on Wednesday will have the choice between the single dose Johnson & Johnson or the Moderna. If an individual selects Moderna, a second dose will be automatically scheduled. That's all the information I have for the Department of Health. Any questions or comments? None? Okay. This is a request regarding, for the committee regarding the community blood drive, which, as you know, we have on an annual basis. This year it's scheduled for June 9th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the community center. And the request is of Megan McAfee and Larry Cole, who are both the employees working on this event, and as they have in the past years. Basically, in the past, we have done a raffle for a day off for the employee. Employees who donate blood were put into the raffle, and one name would be drawn out. In prior years, this was a incentive to get employees to donate blood. And so Megan is requesting permission to proceed in this way and have it granted that one individual can be selected from a raffle to receive a day off, again, for the incentive of giving blood.
Someone like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a
So
motion
moved.
to that effect.
Second.
So we have Kim and Curtis. Any further discussion? Just call the roll. I think you're on mute,
Oh,
Barbara.
you're muted, Barb.
Sorry about that. Okay, Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
motion is carried.
And that's all I have, Mayor. I have a few things in closed session under personnel.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Barbara Young.
Nothing to report at this time, sir. Thank you.
All right. Daniel.
Nothing at this time.
All right. Paul.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have a couple things. First, I wanted to report back to committee. Last meeting, we talked about some traffic control issues on Stagecoach Road, our section on the southern end towards Route 9. And those radar notification signs, they're about $6,000 a piece, not including installation. Our Public Works would be able to do the installation. It'd be the standard, this is your speed flashing sign. It's a solar powered sign, so it doesn't need electric hookup or anything, but it is $6,000 per sign. So I just wanted to follow up with committee on that.
Okay.
The next item is our paving project. I know I sent out an email to everyone, but I just wanted to let the committee know that we have completed the paving project. They've completed all the punch list work items. So I will be looking possibly at the next meeting to have their a final change order for the project, as well as releasing recommendation to release their retainage for the project. And that's all I had this evening.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Barbara Ludi.
Good evening, Mayor. I have nothing to report this evening.
Okay. Let's see, Committeeman Coggins.
Nothing to report this evening.
All right, Committeewoman Hayes.
I just wanted to give a report about the playground in Strathmere. I know that I had some residents over there, as well as Mayor Palumbo had some people reach out about there was an issue with a pipe that had broken in the street and had washed away most of the fill there. So that issue's resolved. We were able to remulch it. Committeeman Corson and I went and did a tour of the site on Thursday. We met Craig Reeves, our head of public works, so I thank him for taking the time to walk the site with us. I also want to thank Karen Mitchell, who took time out of her day to give us a little history on the site and some of the issues that the residents have been having. So it looks like what we did is probably a temporary fix. There's probably going to be some, different approach that's going to have to be taken other than mulch, because it doesn't seem to last. And we also are looking at ways to expand the play area there. So that's all in conversation. And thank you, everyone who took the time out of their day to come and help us work through that issue.
Okay, great. Committeeman Corson.
Thank you. Just to reiterate what Kim said, it was a very, I think, productive meeting out there. Also, Public Works has started the process of painting the curbs, the yellow no parking areas. The signage was put up from our last ordinance was introduced. And things are progressing, and I believe we are going to be ready for Memorial Day with some enforcement too. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I just have a few things. One, we had requests for Memorial Day service at Osprey Point at 10 a.m. At the William Godfrey Memorial Park. I'm not sure. I don't know, Barbara, have we heard anything from the VFW or American Legion about their normal trail along to the cemeteries? I know that last year it was canceled because of COVID. But,
Right.
and what we there,
Not yet.
Okay. But for
Not
those
yet,
of you
but if
that
they do, we'll
are
post it.
able to attend, if you'd work through Barbara Phil, contact Mr. Joyce, who sent in a request. And again, it's 10 a.m. May 31st at Osprey Point at the Godfrey Memorial Park. And what I'm really happy to report is that since we have seen a great increase in vaccines, and we've seen a really great decrease in the amount of active cases that are not only in the township, which today was 8 total cases, in the county, that and along with the relaxation of the executive order by the governor, I would like to say that starting at our next meeting, we will go back to our old-fashioned live open meetings. We will allow individuals to participate in the meeting, come in live. We'll certainly require masks, at least at this point. And I think what we can do, Scott, I know you were looking at, what that room looks like. I think that, the way the relaxation executive order says that you have to maintain social distancing and potentially wear masks, unless you're with individuals that are vaccinated or you're from, say, the same family. The good news is that, from what I understand, all 5 of the committee folks are vaccinated. So I think that we should be covered, at least up on the podium where we sit. And I think it's a good start. Rather than wait till the first meeting in June, I think it's time to have live meetings. We have waited patiently for many, many months to be able to say this. And I'm pretty confident at this point that we can have the meeting and safely operate. So what that means is I'm not sure that we'll be doing virtual meetings going forward. We will continue to, as we had in the past, I believe that we tape it and stream it at a later date that's available. And we would request that anyone that wants to participate in any way to the meetings would have to appear at the Township Hall, as we've done in the past. Other than the reorganization meeting where the 5 committee individuals and a few of our staff attended that meeting, we have not had a live meeting since March 2020. So I think we're long overdue to have that. And I know, in fact, I had a conversation with Committeewoman Hayes today. I hadn't realized that other than the reorganization where the 5 of us came live in January, she really has not ever been involved with an open meeting since she took over, which is amazing if you stop and think about it. So, we're happy for her to be able to finally be involved with an open forum as well. So I look forward to seeing everyone at Township Hall again. I know that we've opened Township Hall up a little bit more. We're still cautious, but we're gradually getting back to normal, and that's a great sign. So that's all I have. The next item on the agenda is the 2021 budget. And after talking with Barbara Ludi today, it sounds as if the recommendation from our auditor would be to table 1 and 2 at this point because we have not gotten our allotment or the funding amount from the state as yet. Is that correct?
It's the guidance on how we can spend those funds that we're
Okay.
waiting for. Now, we're expecting to resume discussion on the budget and hopefully have an adopted budget at our May 24th meeting. But again, we're waiting for the guidance from the state on how we can spend the funding.
Right.
Okay,
I would ask that you have a motion and a second to table it. And included in that motion is that if the motion passes and it's tabled, obviously, there'll be no further notice that anyone interested in those budget items should come to what was the date of that meeting, Barbara?
May 24th.
May 24 meeting, and that will be a live meeting at that point at the Township Hall, and no further notice.
If I could just jump in, we lost Curtis for a minute. I don't know. He just dropped off, so I don't know if we want to hold off until
All right,
we can see if he can get back
Why
in.
don't we pause until Curtis comes back in?
You want me
I
to
think
try?
he's having technical difficulties.
That's probably what's going
He
on.
just texted me, is it just me?
It is just him. No.
You text back yes, correct?
There we go.
Down here.
There he is.
Curtis, what I just suggested, this is, we're addressing the budget items. They're going to be tabled. I would like a motion in a second. And I made an announcement that it will be heard at the May 24th meeting, which, according to the comments earlier, will not be a remote electronic meeting, but rather a live meeting at Township Hall.
Was it just me that lost the connection, or was that everybody?
No,
It
just
was just
It
you.
was just you.
Just you.
Sorry about that. I'm back. I had to move, I guess.
All right, so would someone like to make a motion to table the discussion and the actual vote until the next meeting?
I'd like to make a motion that we table the discussion and the vote on the budget adoption until the next meeting on the 24th of May.
I'll second.
Okay,
If you could add that item number 2 on the agenda would be tabled as well.
Uh,
The local budget exam resolution.
That motion would include tabling item number 2.
And second again.
Very good. Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
yes.
Motion is carried. Favor.
Okay, just to reiterate that meeting now on the budget and those 2 items will be held May 24th, 7:30 at Township Hall, and it will not be electronically or remotely attended, but rather in person.
Correct. All right, Barbara, do you want to continue with the resolutions for us?
Sure. Item number 3, appointing the contact person for the employment practices liability attorney consultation services of the Atlantic County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund.
Move the resolution.
Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Item number 4, appointing Louis M. Belasco as an appraiser for the Township of Upper.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Carried. 5, authorizing the award of a contract for service tire truck centers for tires.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 6, authorizing payments to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund of Upper Township.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 7, authorizing a contract amendment for the construction of Beasley's Point Park in the amount of $66,568.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 8, authorizing T-Mobile Northeast LLC to install a generator on the licensed space of the cell tower and ground located at 1721 Mount Pleasant Road.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
8, appointing Mark Smith as a part-time employee to the Upper Township Division of Emergency Medical Services.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 10, appointing John Hope as supervising mechanic to the Upper Township Department of Public Works.
Move the
Move the
resolution.
resolution. Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 11, appointing Marshall Kohler as mechanics helper to the Upper Township Department of Public Works.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 12, appointing Andrew Magum as truck driver heavy to the Upper Township Department of Public Works.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Person?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 13, authorizing the purchase of certain items with funds from the 2020 Capital Improvement Bond Ordinance in the amount of $1,752.79.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 14, authorizing the execution of a subcontract with the County of Cape May for the state fiscal year 2022 Municipal Alliance Program.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Person?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried, all in favor. Item number 15, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 10, 2021, and ordinance amending revised general ordinance, chapter 10 of the Code of Upper Township.
Move the resolution.
No, wait. No. This
We have-
is a public
this is
hearing
the
and final
public-
adoption.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was the next. I apologize.
That's all right. I wanted to ask the township committee or Dan if anybody has any comments before I open it up to the public.
And before we open this up to the public, I would suggest the 3 ordinances we have tonight, given the nature of the ordinances, that we take public comment. And if the committee is asked a question or the committee would like to respond after public comment before the vote, they do that rather than enter into a dialogue during each of the hearings, just to streamline it and in an attempt to eliminate any redundancy. So I suggest that we do that for tonight's ordinances, the public hearing.
Okay, so just to avoid confusion, Dan, can you just briefly summarize what we're about to open the first one?
The first one deals with the changes to fees for demolition and code compliance. It brings us in line to somewhat make up for some of the costs of the department. It was done after a survey and after a budget report through Barbara Luty's office and the construction code office. So it's really just to update our fee schedule for the construction code office.
Okay. So is there any other questions from the Township Committee?
No.
If not, I will open it up to the public. And this is for this ordinance only. You just heard Mr. Young's explanation. This is regarding fees for demolition and those kind of things that have been worked out through the construction office. So is there anyone in the attending audience here who would like to address this ordinance 10/2021?
Hi, good evening. I'd like to address a couple of parts of that ordinance. This is Blanche Adams, and I'm at 330 Woodbine Road in Steelmantown, and I'm representing the Upper Township Business Association. The first part, after reading the ordinance, I saw that there were at least 2 parts that directly affected businesses. And the first one is 10-1.3G, and that's adding fees for tents and temporary structures. So that looks like a new fee of $95, and it looks like it's going to be affecting our businesses that are erecting temporary tents to expand their footprint, like restaurants, for instance. So I'm just questioning that, if I'm understanding that correctly, and if this is really a good time to be adding a new fee when restaurants in particular are still at 50% capacity.
Okay.
My understanding is that we have no regulation of that, and all other towns regulate it, and this is not a fee that is connected with the emergency authorizations.
So what does that mean? Like that you would not be putting?
In other words, it's not pursuant to the emergency orders where we allowed people to expand. The township waived those fees, their portion of them, not the state portion or other portions.
So would this $95 tent fee not be applied when we're talking about the emergency provision, like going into this year again? I know last year.
If the emergency continues and someone has to do a new expansion, my understanding is yes, because there was an executive order issued out of the township, which the township committee approved of, and it was signed by our township administrator, Scott Morgan, and it waived the fees. We didn't charge for Paul Dietrich to do inspections, and we waived our township portion of the fees.
So if I'm understanding correctly, when our businesses open up, probably this month within their tents, you would not be charging the $95 fee?
On the nature, if it's due to the emergency order, no. But
I mean, it would be due to the
emergency.
Okay.
If they're building a temporary structure and has nothing to do with the emergency order, then I think that's a different situation. Barbara Luty, do you have any response to that?
Yeah, let me just clarify that we have been charging $62 and the state minimum is $129. So the building inspector had recommended $95 for the charge.
Oh, because it said it was adding it, so I thought it was a new fee. Add the following in section.
I believe because we were charging a minimum, there was a minimum that we could charge.
And you were waiving that fee because it was the emergency order last year? I mean,
If
the
it-
township was, and Paul in particular, was very gracious in bending over backwards to help our businesses open. And I really appreciate that. I just want to make sure they're not getting hit with something unexpected right now.
Well, I think, and Dan, please correct me if I'm wrong, but if the executive order, which is still currently in place, is still in place, and they erect these specifically because of the executive order, then
They don't erect these. This is our standard for a temporary structure.
Right.
And this
So
was allowed.
somebody,
This has nothing to do with the emergency.
right.
Right.
So at this point, the governor has actually opened it up, I believe, for 100% capacity as of May 19th, right?
I thought it was still 50%, and you still have to be.
No, I think they've
6 feet
changed.
socially.
They've changed.
I thought it was outside was 100%.
Yes.
I just, outside 100%, but inside still 50%, and you have to be 6 feet distanced. So 50%, for instance, at Mamma Mia's isn't probably going to get you very many tables in there, for instance. And it still has to be 6 feet. That's the way I read it. So it's still, it's still, the temporary structures are still related to the emergency order, for expanding the footprint.
Blanche, there are two different issues. One is under the standard, normal, non-emergent situation when you come in for a permit for a tent or a temporary structure. The second is if you have to expand your premises beyond your site plan that is not approved, and you're doing it because of the pandemic, that's a different situation. The township waived its portion of the fees for that.
Okay, and will you continue to waive it this year?
Depends upon the emergency, I suggest, because that's the way the order was written.
Okay, I think. So I'll go back to the businesses and say they should probably not expect to pay $95 or anything under these emergency. Now, if they're doing something different and they're having a fair and they want to put a fin, I mean, I get that. I get the $95, but then I'll just expect that we won't get a fee under the emergency provision. That's correct. Okay, and then the second one that I looked at was 10-1.3, and that's just the sign. The increase in the signage looks like it's going from $2.50 from $1.80 a square foot, which is like a 39% increase. Just a question about that. It just looks like another burden for the businesses during a difficult time.
Again, there's a significant deficit based upon the revenue at the code office. The fees that we're charging are in line with and still below most of the neighboring municipalities.
There's one neighboring municipality that is charging less. Other municipalities are charging either what we're recommending or quite significantly higher, more than double.
Okay, I understand that. I just wish it was like a different time. I just hate to burden the businesses anymore with extra fees and increases. I understand your point. I get that. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that it's probably an issue that's not going to be well received by our businesses. And I wanted to just make you aware that we're, as a business association, not in favor of that. But thank you for your explanations.
Just to reiterate, this is an annual review that occurs from construction code under the statute to calculate whether or not there's a deficit in the construction code office. If there is a deficit, the law allows fees to be adjusted to cover the deficit. These change in fees nowhere near cover the deficit. However, if there is a deficit, that is paid by all taxpayers. In other words, if you have a user fee and that user fee is picked up by the rest of the taxpayers, the entire tax base is paying for the cost of the business that you're running. And these are relatively lower to most neighboring municipalities. This is something that's done every year. It wasn't something done specifically to raise revenue and that the business community for that purpose. It was really just to address deficiencies in our fee structure out of code enforcement.
Okay, and I understand that. Thank you. That's all I have.
So we'd like to address the Township Committee with regards to the adoption of the ordinance 1021. Paul,
Everybody's been unmuted, Mayor.
Is everyone unmuted, Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, everybody's unmuted.
all right, so I'll ask one additional time. Is there anyone else that would like to address the Township Committee during this public hearing for ordinance 10/2021? Are you comfortable that we gave it enough time, Dan?
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect that there was one public comment. There was no additional public comment. And so at this time, I will close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
Well, why don't we, as we said in the beginning, we'll open it up to the Township Committee if they have any comments or response on the ordinance before you do that.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone on the Township Committee have any further comments?
No, I don't know.
Okay. So again, hearing that there's no further comment from the committee, I'll entertain a motion for adoption.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 10-2021.
Okay.
Second.
Second, okay. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Carried. All in favor. Item number 16, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 11/2021, an ordinance prohibiting the operation of any class of cannabis businesses within the Township of Upper's geographical boundaries and amending Chapter 20, Section 1.5 of the revised general ordinance of the Township of Upper.
Okay, again, is there any comments from the Township Committee or Dan before I open it up for the public hearing? All right, doesn't sound like there's any comments, so at this time I'll open it up to the public. If you'd like to address this ordinance only, 11/2021, now's the time to do so. Please state your name, your address, and the comment that you'd like to address the Township Committee with.
I would like to address the committee.
Sure.
So my name is Spencer Bells. I live at 235 Church Road. And I would like to encourage the committee to not adopt this ordinance for Upper Township. We are in a very important spot right now where we have the opportunity to bring some really significant business growth to Upper Township through this ordinance. We would be able to adopt multiple different types of businesses coming to Upper Township, which will create jobs in the area. And we know that this will benefit surrounding businesses such as all of our restaurants. And this is also a medicine that a lot of people in Cape May County would be able to benefit from. And that is something that, we have seen in Upper Township really grow. We have multiple pharmacies. And I think allowing access to medicinal cannabis would be a huge improvement for this area, on top of what the recreational sales with this municipality's 2% tax could bring on top of that. We currently have 3 packaged goods and 1 full liquor store within Upper Township itself. And if we are able to have that large of a capacity for alcohol, which we understand, some of the, or not, potential dangers, but some of the real life dangers that comes with that. Something like cannabis, which is something that has never directly killed anybody and you cannot overdose on, should be a much easier thing to be able to manage within our town. And I think that with everybody in the surrounding area, including Summers Point, Ocean City, and Sea Isle, having already banned the sales, it gives Upper Township the opportunity to create a monopoly within the upper portion of Cape May County, take advantage of the economic growth that this can bring in, and really help our township grow and thrive, especially after everything we've been through in the past year.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to address the Township Committee?
Yeah, I'd like to address the Township Committee again. Blanche Adams, 330 Woodbine Road, Steelmantown, again, representing the Upper Township Business Association. We issued a poll to our members and to the public a couple weeks ago, and we asked the question, are you in favor or not in favor of allowing the opening of businesses that will distribute recreational marijuana? And I just wanted to let you know the results of that survey. We had 135 responses, and 100 people were in favor of it, and 35 people were not in favor of it. The people that were in favor of it, some of the comments were that it's hypocritical if you approve the law and then you say you can't have the dispensaries here. Another one referenced the ban of alcohol. We haven't banned the sale of alcohol because the town has profited from it, and they feel that the same thing could happen from the marijuana. Another comment, 76% of Upper voted for the legislation. It's a no-brainer. We should have it. Not understanding the reasoning. I think tax-wise, we could benefit. And then there shouldn't even be a question. The voters were resoundingly clear. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. We did take the time to do the survey because we wanted to get a feel for how our business community felt about it, because it is, as the last caller said, it is a business opportunity. And it's just 100 to 35. So I just wanted to bring that to the Township Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Would anyone else like to address the Township Committee?
Paul, is everyone?
Everybody's been unmuted, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Asked one last time. Anyone else would like to address the Township Committee during this public hearing for Ordinance 11, 2021? All right, it appears that there's no further public comment. I'll close the public hearing, come back to the Township Committee for some final words before we make a motion to adopt. Any additional comments?
I will read. Go ahead. Go ahead, Curtis.
I just want to say, it was mentioned about tax revenue earlier tonight, and a 2% tax revenue. And 2% sounds like a lot, but if they do $5 million in sales, that's only $100,000. We do not have the luxury of having our own municipal police. The municipalities that were mentioned earlier all have police departments. They have enforcement abilities. We rely on the state police, and we know with COVID, for a fine example, the state police were down manpower and everything else too. I mean, I don't think we were prepared or equipped to do that. And if we had to provide our own police department, I know we couldn't do it for $100,000. It'd be closer to a number of $4 or $5 million. So the $100,000 worth of tax revenue, that could be projected, I don't think is worth the risk. That's all I have to say.
All right. I wanted to also point out that this is a ordinance, while it prohibits distribution and sale within the township, except for obviously private home delivery. It doesn't prohibit the township from revisiting this issue. If the township didn't adopt such an ordinance, they wouldn't be able to modify, even in a partial way, for 5 years, any of the operations of any of the businesses that would start. So this allows the township the flexibility to tailor any permitted use in accordance with what they feel is appropriate in the future. It gives them that power under the ordinance. Unfortunately, that's the way the state legislature and the governor wrote the ordinance. So in order to empower the township to regulate properly within its borders, it has to adopt this so that they have the ability to do that regulation, because otherwise they only get another window of 180 days after 5 years from now. So it's somewhat of a prophylactic protective measure to do it. The regulations are not final yet. They haven't been produced. And that's why, frankly, there probably are a lot of municipalities that may eventually end up permitting it in some way, shape, or form that are taking this action now in order to be able to do it in a reasoned, proper way in the future and not be prohibited by state law. So I just want to explain that was discussed when this ordinance was introduced and prior to its introduction.
If somebody could appeal to the township committee, come in front of the township committee for a marijuana distribution system center.
It would require a change in the ordinance to do that, but that could happen in the future, yes.
Okay, so this isn't no forever.
No, it's the only way we can regulate it from A to Z based upon the way they wrote the state law. And since it's so new, you can now take a reasoned, judicious approach to it. And I can report that it was recommended to be adopted as consistent with the master plan by the planning board. And at the planning board hearing, there apparently were no negative comments.
All right, is there any other discussion? Would someone like to make a motion to adopt?
I'd like to make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
carried in favor. Item number 17, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 12, 2021, an ordinance amending revised general ordinance, chapter 3, police regulations, and chapter 4, general licensing of the code of Upper Township.
If I may, this is a companion ordinance to the previous ordinance. All it simply does is where we prohibit smoking in public facilities and parks and beaches. This prohibits smoking of cannabis or the consumption of cannabis facilities.
All right, if there's no other further discussion, I'll open it up to the public. Would anyone like to comment on ordinance 12, 2021? As Mr. Young stated, this would prohibit smoking cannabis in public areas, parks, beach, or any other public facility that the township maintains. Paul, is everyone unmuted?
Yes, everyone's unmuted.
Once again, just to make sure there's an opportunity for anyone to speak up. Would someone like to address the township committee?
Just getting some background noise from Stacy Dotz. I'm going to mute her.
Paul, until the public hearing is over, unless it's unbearable.
Yeah, I think they muted them. they muted themselves, so.
All right.
So everyone's unmuted. There's been no public comment. Are you satisfied that we've given it enough time?
Yes.
Okay. So let the record reflect there is no public comment on ordinance 1221. I'll close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion. Well, I'll ask if the committee has any further comments, and if not, we'll entertain a motion to adopt. So it appears there's no comment from the committee. So would someone like to make a motion to adopt?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 12-2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
First and second. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor. Item number 18, under new business, Second Capital Running LLC request to host a quarter marathon for 120 people at Amanda's Field on July 12th, 2021.
Just for edification of the public and maybe some committee members, while we have had internal recreational organizations, for our approved programs operate within the COVID emergency guidelines, we have not opened our facilities generally to the public. This is a request to do so. While the request is probably permitted under current guidelines for outdoor activity, it does require an element of policing the event. The township obviously has more control over a township event to police it in terms of the wearing of masks and social distancing. You're going to have to make a decision as to whether we're going to open our facilities at this time, at least what we know now, to public participation. You can't do it for some and not others. You'd have to be consistent with all outside groups in any guidelines that you produce.
One question. Is Capital Running LLC a for-profit organization?
I don't know.
I believe they are.
Are they paying a user fee?
They would pay the fees pursuant to our ordinance. Outside organizations that are not Upper Township nonprofits do pay fees pursuant to our ordinance.
And then also have the rider insurance and everything else that goes along with the
Well,
criteria.
you can't have insurance. You have insurance generally, but there's no insurance for COVID-19 liability. So the idea and the concern is not as much now that the cases are going down, but when cases were at their height, businesses and governmental entities, if they opened up facilities and someone became infected and said, I got infected because my grandmother got infected because you opened up the facility and allowed us to do these things, you don't not covered by insurance, that liability of the lawsuit. All insurance policies, including those of the township, have an exclusion for pandemics.
It seems to me it's the kind of event that would be better suited for a boardwalk.
Dan, when you say we would have to treat everyone the same, can we put our own limits on capacity?
I guess you could. During the pandemic, you could have an executive order of the administrator saying due to the pandemic, we will only allow items. The question I have, and this is the concern, I guess, is due to liability, we're not there. Are we going to police that event? And how are we going to do that with our limited staff and police an outside event?
Yeah.
For example, when we open up the township meetings in live, you're going to be there. You're going to be able to police it if it gets out of hand or there's a problem. Too many people there, you can table the meeting so it can be handled properly. But you're not going to be there on a Saturday afternoon. That's the only question, and that's what you have to decide. I don't think this is a July event. Now, maybe the promoter needs to know now. Things could be different in July, but we don't know. And for example, if we have the July 4th celebration that we will have significant personnel of our own there to police it.
Yeah, we're back to, I mean, these kind of events are good for the community because it brings people into our town and it does support our business community. And I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, we got to get these events back rolling so our residents and our community businesses can benefit from them. But, we have to be cautious too.
So we need to make a decision because I'm sure time is of the essence for this particular LLC that's requesting the use of the field. If we're uncomfortable with allowing an outside group to host, then, I'd suggest that we vote against the allowance. But at some point, we're going to have to at least understand that people are being vaccinated. This is an outdoor event. And, by the time we make it to July, because I'm extremely, extremely cautiously optimistic that, we'll have the fireworks celebration. And I know that there's a lot of preparations for the Strathmere July 4th parade. I mean, at some point we have to start trying to get back to normal in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to put anyone at risk. We don't want to put anyone at risk. But the purpose of the vaccines were in fact to ensure that at some point, some kind of, I don't know if I like the word herd immunity, but at some point, you're protected. And, I think we really have to start thinking seriously about, moving forward with some of these events. If you're uncomfortable with this one, that's okay. It doesn't really have an ill effect on the township, except for that it does bring folks in that would help the businesses. But I do think that at some point we have to just say, okay, it's time to open some of these events up.
Is there going to be spectators?
Very successful, safely operated, sporting fall into the winter. We had wrestling, we had indoor programs, and we were very fortunate that everything went well and really happy that it went well. So, it's just up to everybody else what you want to do with this one.
Is there going to be spectators?
Well, I would imagine if somebody is running and they have a friend or a spouse or a sibling or somebody comes, they could be there.
What I understood from the proposal was it was 120 total runners, but they were going to be in groups of 30. So it wouldn't be 120 people there at once. It would be groups of 30 and whatever spectators come for a group of 30 people.
Dan, would it be,
go ahead.
is it possible to put the onus on the people that do this to police their spectators?
You can, but it's your property, your event, you approved it. So are you asking me, do we get out from under liability? My answer is no.
But it's not our event. I mean, and I get that. But if we're going to do something for these people and allow this, can we tell them they need to be responsible and have people to police their spectators to social distance and keep people in their pods? And
you can, again, you can put any requirements on it that you think are appropriate, and if they're reasonably related to what's going on. But if you're asking, does that eliminate your liability? No, that's my answer.
I mean, I know it doesn't eliminate our liability. People walking their dog and pass people and they get COVID out there, and I get that. Yeah. But
the limits for outdoor events are, I think, 500 starting today, right?
That's correct.
So
yeah.
We're talking 120 folks, and even if they have one spectator or person, we're nowhere near 500. So listen, I know nothing about this group. I'm only saying, whatever everybody decides, I'm fine with. But, you know, I do want us to understand that it's our plan, and I know Kim's been working on it, to have a July 4th celebration with 500 people, and it's likely that we'll have that, you know, maybe more. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna police that, but, you know, I mean, so, and this is on the 12th, so.
Yeah,
Right.
the reason, just to clarify, the reason this is being discussed is because it's the first outside group, essentially, that has asked and may be granted under the guidelines use of our facilities. So it's a threshold issue. I think you would have a difficulty if more people come, and unless it's an availability item, of saying no. Obviously, there could be distinguishing factors that would make it reasonable for another group to say no. But it's really the question before the Township Committee is whether or not we're going to allow use of the facilities during the pandemic, even if they state, as Kurt said, will comply with all the requirements.
I think I'd like to see us try and move forward with it. I mean, at some point we have to, as Rich said, try and get back to normalcy. You know, our businesses could use the influx of people into the community. At some point, I think we just have to push forward. You know, we understand the risks involved. I mean, this group seems to have a pretty solid plan as far as distancing and keeping it to smaller groups. And presumably their marathon runners are pretty healthy people. So even if one of them did get sick, they would, you know, most likely be okay. So I would say that I'd like to see us give it a shot. That's just my take.
I kind of agree with Kim, and I think it's something that we can visit on a case by case until things loosen up tremendously. And I think this one, it's sounds like they have it together.
All right, it sounds like one of you are ready to make a motion and second to move forward.
All right, I'll make the motion.
I will make it a second.
There we go. Is there any other further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
carried. All in favor.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
carried.
So there are a number of reports from our municipal department. Animal Control, Clerk's Office, Construction Code, Division of EMS, Finance Office, MUA, Municipal Court, Public Works, Tax Collector. All of these reports would be available upon request at the Clerk's Office, but I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Okay, at this time, we've reached the public comment portion of the meeting. If you'd like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so. Please state your name and your address and your reason for addressing the Township Committee. Who would like to go first?
Everyone's unmuted, Mayor.
I'm
Okay.
back again, so I just have a brief comment. This is Blanche Adams, 330 Woodbine Road in Steelmantown, and I'm again representing the Upper Township Business Association. I just wanted to give you a heads up as to one thing that's going on with our association that we're pretty excited about. As we continue to look at new ways to grow our business community, we have met last month with Joe Molyneux of the Cape May County Department of Economic Development and trying to kind of develop a plan as to how we can continue to grow our business community. So our first task is to identify what businesses we want in Upper Township. And to that end, we have another survey out there, another public survey asking our public, our residents, and our businesses, what businesses do you think would be beneficial to Upper Township? And we've gotten 233 responses so far, which we're pretty excited about. We're going to probably run that for a few more weeks. And then our plan is to develop our list, what we feel would enhance living in Upper Township and would be good partners in our business community as it is. Probably we're looking at like mom and pop stores, you know, we're kind of looking to see what kind of small businesses would be a good fit, what kind of recreational facilities for kids, for families would be a good fit. And then our plan is to bring that back to you, to the committee, and figure out how we can work together to develop a plan to attract these businesses. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's where we're at, and we're really excited to be working on that. And we look forward to coming back to the committee and letting you know our thoughts and working together with you.
Blanche,
Yeah.
I did see your poll on Facebook, I believe.
Okay.
And is there any way you can differentiate between local comments and people that are out of town? I know it's a little hard, but.
Yeah, I don't see how. You say like because people that are out of town are weighing in and giving their 2 cents.
Yeah, it's just sometimes friends of friends get involved, and I'm just curious. I don't know that much about the technical aspect of Facebook and the survey.
Yeah, I mean, we would know who's posting it. We left it open to the public, so.
I mean, maybe if you could, yeah, I don't know. Is it worth chasing down the names and seeing if they're from Upper Township? Yeah.
I don't know, because maybe it's a valid point that someone from outside of Upper Township, what they would come to Upper Township for. I don't know.
When I saw it last night, there was people who wanted a Trader Joe's and all that. And I mean, we can't petition Trader Joe's to come to Upper Township. I mean, that's not how it works.
I know. I think.
And Trader Joe's has their, I mean, I'm sure these department stores like that, they have a demographic they target and their market analysis and all that. And I mean, you know.
Yeah, and we recognize that you as a committee are working on the bigger picture. You're working on the big hotels and you know, maybe the box stores and stuff. And we recognize that. We've been you know, kind of on that journey with you, and we recognize the limitations of the lack of sewers and things like that. So it's why a Trader Joe would be nice, but maybe in lieu of a Trader Joe's, we have just an organic small grocery store. You know, maybe that's doable. Maybe one of the empty storefronts is something similar to a Trader Joe's without being that national brand. You know.
Yes.
So good. I'm glad that you saw the survey. We're happy with the responses.
It was interesting.
Yeah, we have a new part on our website called the Community Voice. So that's where the cannabis survey was. We're also surveying the public to see if they can come up with a new slogan for Upper Township. So we're working on that too, but it's good. It's good to get that interaction and that back and forth. And it's been nice to work with Joe Molyneux. You know, I've known Joe for decades, probably from when he worked at Stockton. So it's good to get that expertise too. So take the survey yourselves, go on our website, take the survey. We look forward to coming back to you with our short list and putting our heads together and figuring out how we can get this done. Thank you. That's about it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Blanche. Would anyone else like to address the Township Committee? Everybody's unmuted, Paul?
Yes, everybody's been unmuted.
Doesn't appear that there's any further public comment. Are you good if I close this, Dan?
Yes.
Okay. So since there's no further public comment, I'll close the public comment portion and entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are contract negotiation for Suasions Communication Group, for the EMS medical direction, for the health benefits insurance, litigation for EEOC complaint, for Holt versus Upper Township Zoning Board of Adjustment, for animal control, for a property maintenance complaint, and personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken, when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So at this time, the Township Committee will go into executive session and we'll come back to adjourn the meeting. You're welcome to stay on the line. And we thank you for those that are leaving for your attendance this evening and hope that all of you have a great week. So we have the four committee members. So would someone like to make a motion to go out of executive session and back to the open session?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn from closed session and resume the public portion of the meeting.
Second. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes.
motion is carried.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Is there a second? Got a second? Call the
Second.
I
roll.
think John got it.
Mr. Coggins,
Yes.
Mr. Corson,
Yes.
Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo,
Yes. I hope everybody has a spectacular night, what's left of it, and a fantastic week.
You too, Mayor. Good night.
Everybody.
There we go. It's all over.
night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.